what do we have here? Oh boy. Humans. Oh my goodness. Humans, 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 humans. Oh, oh, my darlings. Yes, we're back to tackle this subject. Offering up your children to high priests and high priestesses, trading them for God knows what. Trading them for money, job opportunities, status, fame, basically sacrificing your child. It's like what are the rules on that? You know, I've always wondered because I've watched some African movies, and in the movie you'd have things like, let's say a mother or a woman, she can't have kids and she just wants to have children so bad for whatever purpose, or at least a child. She would go to the village witch doctor or wherever they at. She'd go to a witch doctor and do something, some kind of ceremony, and eventually she gets a child, and she promises these entities that the child will belong to them. Okay, first of all, let me just say that I don't know too much about these things because these things are new to me. I'm gonna try and explain myself as best as I possibly can. But yeah, so after she get this child, then, well, before she get the child, before she leaves the witch doctor, she would have to promise that she would get this child to serve it. And it's like, that's a whole human being. This child is a whole human being, okay? We come with our own programming. We come with our own minds, our own desires, our own likes, our own dislikes, our own path in life. So I was just wondering, like, what's that about? Because let's say, for instance, my people offered me up to some organization. Maybe when I was a child, they told this organization that they probably traded me, so I'm quote unquote the property of, from a baby or from a child. I am property of a certain organization or deity or witch doctor or something, okay? Let's say my parent or parents offered me up to this entity. It's like, how solid is that agreement? Because realistically, me, I've grown into a woman and I belong to no one. Because it's like, if something like that happened, it's like my parent is making plans for me for my entire life, making promises on my behalf without my consent for me to serve XYZ. I grow up and I have no desire to have any affiliation whatsoever with said XYZ. What are the rules here? Am I the child obligated to fulfill this promise that my parent or guardian made without my consent, without my knowledge? That doesn't seem fair to me. It doesn't seem fair. So, why is that even a thing for high priestesses and high priests and witch doctors and voodoo this and voodoo that, and even organizations and all these different entities, deities and whatnot, to even make those types of deals with persons who come to them for favors? Why is that even a thing? It should be common knowledge that that doesn't work, at least by now, because we have our own mind. Like I said, children are born of parents, but we are our own people. We have our own rights. We have our own destinies. So how dare anyone trade our destiny for their own selfish desires? If you want to make deals with deities, you should make it based on your own life, your own value, your own merit. If you insist on making deals with these entities, it is not wise to use your children to make these deals. That's your mess. That's your price to pay. Our children do not belong to us. They are our responsibility. We are portals. All children belong to God. All children belong to themselves. We are just vessels for them to be birthed through. We are just carers for them, and some of us don't even do the job. We are guides for them, and some of us don't even know our own ass from our bottom foot. So we're doing a poor job at being guides for these children. But every child that we bring into this world is our responsibility, not our property. There's a difference. They are our responsibility. They are not our property. People belong to themselves. Now I see somebody driving a knife into my back. Fuck you. If the truth hurts, that's your business. It's not an offense. I have not offended anybody. We are sussing out the rules. We are sussing out the law here. Divine law, divine rules, reality. A lot of you think that you could just make up your own rules. And so you do. Only to learn later that you were fooling yourself. Every person is their own person. Every person is their own property. And under God. We are first God's property, then we are our own property. That's the truth of the matter. And we're not trying to hear anything else. We don't belong to no state. We don't belong to no parents. We don't belong to no organizations. We don't belong to no deities. We don't belong to no voodoo priestess or voodoo priest. We don't belong to our husbands. We belong to no one. We don't belong to our wives. That's the truth of the matter. We belong to our God and ourselves first. You need our permission to offer us up to anything that you want to offer us up to in exchange for whatever it is that you want, even if you gave birth to us. Our children are not our property. They are our responsibility until they come of age. We are here to guide them, help them to get to know themselves. Not to become what we want them to become. That's why so many children are unhappy and failing, because they can't get to be themselves. They can't get to be true to themselves. And when they show you when they show you who they are, you always think it's not good enough. We are here to follow our passions. There's a reason why God put certain things in our heart. There's a reason why we love what we love. It's because we're here to change the world and make the world more beautiful or more progressive with our gifts and talents and knowledge. Puny little boxes. Activity of the Almighty within us. So back to these parents who are trading in their children for riches and other vain things. Let's find out what God have to say about that. I already posted a Bible scripture, 2 Kings 17, 2 Kings chapter 17, verse 17 to 19. It was talking about offering up your children to Molech, but that's only one entity. And I've heard about this Burning Man ritual and all these things. These people that you burn at this Burning Man ritual, did they consent? I highly doubt it. People who are offering up babies to this Molech entity, did the child consent? The scripture in the Bible says it is a crime against God. Several scriptures came up. If you Google it, you'll see the different scriptures where it's spoken of in the Bible. God says don't do it. It angers its spirit. God is against these things. want to know about parents who offered their children up to organizations and to the gods of these high priests and high priestesses, these voodoo priests and voodoo priestesses and stuff in exchange for whatever. Most High, what say you? Please block anybody trying to interfere with this reading, Most High. Do step in and deliver your messages to we, your children. Thank you. So, let's see. What does God? So, this is the first deck. Let's see what God has to say about doing that. So, this first message is to the parents who do this, the parents and the guardians who offer up these children to deities and or idols, false gods, for their own selfish purposes. bottom of the deck. We got you're in God's hands. So this is to the guardians and the parents who do this to their children. God want you to know there's no escape. And from another perspective, the subject matter is about you putting these children in these quote unquote God's hands. In this case, it would be a common G, not the capital. I got both of those messages. So we got BU, but it was in the reverse. Let's check it first. Interpret it this way. So the message is BU. Let's see why God said that. The underlying issue is trust the process. Sing about friendship. Sing a response to that song. So this is my music deck that God guided me to explain what it wants to explain to you or to us. Okay? So what we got going on is, first of all, God don't want you to be angry with yourself. Because it says sing about that friendship. So that means it's people that you trusted that gave you this idea or introduced you to this practice. Okay? Then we have sing a response to that song. So first of all, God started out with trust the process. Okay? So it's the deed has already been done. Okay? Now you have to go through the whole process. That means if karma need to be shared, you have to endure your karma as well. You have to take accountability for the role that you played. Okay? Even if somebody else encouraged you to do this to your child or children. So we got to sing about that friendship and sing a response to that song. So it's like, what is your opinion on that now? God wants you to be you. So now that the experience has already taken place and you've seen some things, you've experienced what the ride is like doing this, what is your opinion of the matter, of the practice? Would you do it again? Would you recommend it to anyone? These are the kind of questions that God wants you to respond to. Respond to that friendship, that person that gave you that idea. Okay, let's read on. Your social circle needs adjusting, most certainly. So the people that you learn this from, you need to shift some things around because you know that it's not okay. So the reason why God is telling you to be you is because God knows that you're not being yourself when you make these decisions. You now see better. You now see that you made a mistake. And God is saying, just start correcting it by being true to what you really think about the matter. Do not keep going forward with this bad decision. Let karma take its place. Try and undo what you did. Start with your social circle. Get rid of the people who, or at least put them in check. Let them know that either distance yourself from them, put them in check, or get rid of them out of your life altogether. You need to do some adjustments when it comes to your social circle, whoever these friends or even family members or whatever these whoever told you about offering up your children in exchange for whatever. That's how you start to correct your mistake. the misguidance. Okay? Turn your philosophical ponderings into songs. So this is talking again about how you truly see the situation. You've experienced the experience, so now you can speak on it. The philosophy of it, what actually take place, the morality of it, the effects of it. Does the shit even work? Because like I said, people are people. You can't promise us to anything or anyone that we, when we grow up, don't want to belong to. It's not going to be good for anybody involved, especially when you trade a strong person like myself. If you have the misfortune of having a strong person like myself come through your womb or under your care, and you offer us up as a young child to any entity or any deity or group or anything like that, and we get to our ripe age where we can make our own decisions and we're catering to ourselves, there's no way that we are going to fulfill the end, our the end of that bargain that we had no say in. We didn't have a say in the trade. So clearly we can't be held liable to deliver on that trade. We are our own people. That's the truth of the matter. We don't belong. Whatever deal you made, you have to find some other way to pay them back. Especially if you have a strong child like me, who refused to be owned by anything and anyone but God and my own self. Sing about the reality you want to see as though it already exists. So this is talking about how do you move forward? What do you want to see happen? So remove the word sing in all these and put the word talk or think. Talk about the reality you want to see as though it already exists. So that's bringing things into existence. Okay. Then we got venture outside your usual genre. So the genre would be the practice. And even other philosophical teachings that the people around you have taught you to accept as your own. It's time for some mental changes and some changes in your circle. So not only your social circle need to be adjusted, you need to adjust your thinking, your philosophical understanding. You need to start to purify your mind to free yourself of this mistake. Find ways to get people to hear and understand your lyrics. They will like it. So there are other people out there who have the similar experience to you, and they will understand where you're coming from. So if you need to start a group or something where you guys can come together and brainstorm and talk about it realistically and not be afraid, it will help you and you will help each other. It's kind of like a AA group. Y'all get together, or a group that's made for people who are grieving. You need to create your own group, a new support system, a new social circle. It's like, how do we clean up this mess? That's the aim of your new social circle. So you put yourself in this mess by listening to people's silly teachings. You need to get yourself out, and God will help you. But God said the first thing you need to do is be you. Be true about what you really feel and think about doing things like this. Then you'll be able to find solutions and people who share your view on this matter. We got sing songs for children's parties. You want to create happy children. So if you have a child that you've already done this to and they're not happy, you want to do things that's actually going to make them happy. How do you make your son or daughter happy again? How do you correct this for them? How do you correct this for yourself? And you might owe whoever this entity is that you promised this child to, unless they choose to pardon you. Then you're going to have to start bargaining with them. Let your past self be great. Let your present self become great. Keep your eyes to the future. So you already did what you did and you were happy with your decision. Now you're not happy with it anymore. So the next version of you is going to be the new version of you. And you want it to be as happy with the decisions that you're going to make as you were happy with this decision that you made in the past. Let your future self become great. Or let your present self become great. There are solutions to your problem. Make songs for working out or exercise. So this is talking about your plan. How you going to work this out? You're going to come up with some great ideas to help you work this out, and other people will start seeking you out to help get them out of this jam. Because a lot of people have made this mistake, I suspect. So there's a lot of people that you can help once you figure it out yourself. Don't let the saboteurs or enemies of your progress interrupt your focus, because they're going to try. They're certainly going to try. But God has already said this shit is against the law. And you have the right to retract your offering because it was null and void in the first place. The contract is not a valid contract. Not with the offers that were previously stated on it. If the child says no, then it's a no. You have to find some other way to sort out your differences with the person you promised this child to. And don't let the saboteurs or enemies of your progress interrupt your focus, because they're going to try. This one says, the one you're not normal, it's recommended that you be outside the box. So whatever solution you come up with, it's not a regular solution. So you need to think outside the box. You need to think law. You need to think like a lawyer. The contract was null and void. You did not get the child's permission. The child is its own entity. It's not your property. And that's the truth of the matter. Whoever the entity is or the organization is that you promised that child to, they need to understand that. And if they go on like they don't understand it, that's none of your business. Say what you got to say and try and work some things out. You stay on course with your new philosophical understanding of this matter, and let them keep on lying to themselves, because it's their job to try and corrupt your thinking again, because they're not trying to lose. And the child's not trying to be traded or sold. So you need to start to make suggestions for negotiations in this situation. And I suggest that you ask God to come into this situation too. Ask God to take over. And trust the process that God is putting you through. God doesn't make mistakes. Once you invite God into your situation, do not let your faith falter. God doesn't make mistakes. Yeah, focus on a new album, focus on the new. Okay? You're ushering in a new day for you and your child or children. A day when you're free. You're free physically, you're free spiritually, but in the mind of the one that you promised them to, there's where the captivity is. Because they had their mind and their heart set on owning this child or children. But they should have known better. And if they didn't know better, they're about to learn better. You cannot trade what you do not own. You cannot sell what you do not own. It's a crime. Right. So that's the message that God has for the parents and or guardians who have traded or sold their children to any idol or entity or deity, voodoo priest, voodoo priestess, etc., etc., etc. These people were not yours to sell. These children were not yours to sell. So the contract is null and void. You need to find another way to work out your debt. DEBT, your debt. You owe this priest or priestess or idol or deity. You owe them, because if you got what you asked for, then you do owe them. So you need to pay up. So y'all gonna have to work out something that actually belong to you. You can only trade and or sell what is yours. We belong to God. All children belong to God. We do not belong to our parents. Our children do not belong to us. They are our responsibility. We are their guides. We are their guardians. We are their protectors. We are their teachers. That's what we are. We are the portal. They are not our property. They are people. They are their own people. Every child is its own person, destined to grow up one day and take control of its own life, make its own decisions, belong to whom and where he or she want to belong. We're just here to help them get to a stage of independence. That's what parents are. We're here to help the little ones get to a stage of independence. They are not our property. The moment you try to make these children your property is the moment all hell starts to break loose. Or just know that it's brewing, because they're going to come a time when this person is going to want their freedom to be themselves. Okay, so that's the message to the parents and the guardians. Most High, what do you have to say to children who find themselves in this predicament? Okay. So I'm guided to the same deck. So this is God's message to the children who were quote unquote elite, well, quote unquote sold. It was an illegal sale. It was an illegal trade. You do not belong to the entity or deity or organization that your parent and or guardian traded or sold you to. You don't belong to them. You belong to your God and yourself. So let's see what God wants to tell you. I knew I'd be getting fought for doing this one. It's mighty quiet. All I got was one knife stabbing my back. Well, y'all waiting until I come off camera to try and attack me? God will still be with me, just so you know. I'm never alone, okay? Okay. You've been warned. It's time for the fuckery to stop. Fucking trade what people can trade and stand by what people can actually sell. And you wouldn't be in this problem. Y'all want to go around the earth as if you make the fucking rules. And everybody else must follow. Get real. Set the captives free. If God ever give you people the power to overpower me, I will have made so much progress, okay, in my purpose that I wouldn't care. I will have made so much progress in my purpose that I wouldn't care. The information is there for those who come to get it. Okay? Okay. And the dry now. Okay, so to the children who were actually illegally sold and or traded by their parent and or guardian to any entity or organization or voodoo priest or priestess or whatever, this is your message. At the bottom of the deck, we have find ways to get people to hear and understand your lyrics. They will like it. So find ways to get people to understand your view, your experience, your perspective on the matter. It will sound something like I am my own person and I did not agree to that. I had nothing to do with that trade. I have grown up and that's not what I want to do with my life. That's not who I want to belong to. I do not want to serve over there. So now what? I'm going to be who I want to be. And I feel I have the right to be who I want to be because I had nothing to do with the signing of that contract or the solidifying of that contract. I did not consent. And right now, I still don't consent. And in the future, I still will not consent. I belong to myself. And if you have respect for God, I belong to my God and myself. Okay. Let's check this first before we start. Feels more correct like this. Okay. So we got remix your old songs relevant to our current times with the new generation in mind. So remix your old songs. So this is for those of you children who might have agreed to it in the past, but now that you've grown and you have elevated in your understanding, you no longer agree with it. It's like when I was a child, I thought as a child, but now I'm an adult, I put away childish thoughts. I have dreams of my own that I want to accomplish for myself. I want to live where I want to live. I want to date who I want to date. I want to have as many children or have no children if I choose to. I want to be the master of my fate. I want to be my own master or allow my God to be my master. I do not want to be owned by XYZ entity or priestess or priest or whatever else, deity or organization or that you mention, whatever it is that they traded you to or sold you to. You have no desire to be owned by XYZ. So even if you were saying in the past that you're cool with it, now that you have grown and you no longer agree with it, that's your new that's your new line of reasoning. That's your new story. That's your new song. That's your new thought process. And you're sure of it now because you understand the whole scenario even more. Let's read on. So we got change the producer, the writer, the manager, the band member, or location. Whatever you need to change, make the changes. Change your story. You've grown, you understand more. So now you're ready to change your story. You changed your mind. And you have a right to change your mind. You know why? Because you were young and therefore underdeveloped mentally. You didn't know who you were. You didn't know what you were. You didn't know much about life at all. You didn't know about what's happening outside of your parents' four walls or outside of your parents and or guardians outside of their wing. You'd never gone off to explore life. You probably thought that this was normal. Because that's what they do. They indoctrinate the youngsters to agree and accept as normality all of their abnormalities. Oh, this is what we practice. Well, I don't agree. That's not what I want to practice. And this even go for people who were baptized in different church denominations and all these things. People who were once of this, people who were born into this religion or that religion, or this political ideology or that if you want to change, you have a right to change. Life has taught you some things now that you're older. You have a right to change your mind. And if next week you feel different, you can change your mind next week too. And after that, your life is your own. Your fate is your own. Let's see at the bottom of the deck. We got find ways to get people to hear and understand your lyrics. They will like it. Venture outside your usual genre. So whatever teachings you were living under, once you go outside and you actually experience the possibilities that are out there, you've changed your mind, and you have a right to change your mind. Let's read on. Sing a response to that song. So now you can talk about what you now know about. Before, you could only talk about what you know about because our parents and guardians, they keep us sheltered. This is who we are. This is what we practice, and that's it. They don't give us an option because they believe we belong to them. Because they're paying for our food and our accommodation, and they're teaching us and investing their emotions and their whatever other good vibes into us. They think that they own us. But what these parents and guardians need to realize is they can provide for us because God has provided for them. God provide for them so that they can provide for us. God keep them mentally stable so that they could be mentally stable for us and for themselves. But what I'm trying to say is they're acting like we owe them something. They not even owe them something, because out of decency, we should be appreciative of the care that we get. But parents and children need to know where that line is so that we do not offend each other, so that we do not cross over into territory that we have no business crossing into. That is the truth of the matter. And children, when I say that, let me say this as well. Do not take what I'm saying as a visa or some kind of permission to just go off and live any old how, because there are consequences for your actions too. There are consequences for your inactions as well. We all have a responsibility to act properly, respect ourselves and respect others. So don't take what I'm saying to you as some kind of a permission to go off and just be rebellious and careless and lawless. You get fucked up for that. It's the same rebellious, lawless behavior that made your parents make that type of decision, get into that type of social circle. You have to be careful. Take responsibility for your well-being. That means be mindful of who you're inviting into your life and who you're kicking out of it. The fact that a parent made this mistake with you, it doesn't mean that they don't love you. It doesn't mean that they have not grown to love you over the years. They probably regret their decision because in their mind, it's a valid contract. They have an obligation. They, your parents and or guardians, have an obligation to act uprightly. They have an obligation to do the right thing by you. You have an obligation to do the right thing by yourself and by the people that you come into contact with. Every last one of them. In God's sight. Because whether you believe in God or respect God or want God to own you or not, God is the one in power. God owns you. And God is the governor. You need to understand that. So there are rules. Your parent and or guardian was supposed to know that there are rules against that type of behavior. Selling and or trading your children to deities and gods and organizations and institutions and people. We are not yours to sell. We are not theirs to sell. Your children are not yours to give away and or sell without their consent. And they have to be fully aware to be able to make certain decisions in life. They have to be given all the details necessary, or else the contract is null and void. If the contract is done through trickery, it's null and void, period. Because who we are at 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 years old is not who we're going to be at 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. At least at 25, we have some better understanding of life. At 28, we have even more understanding. At 30, we have more understanding. At 35, we've experienced a lot more and have more understanding. Are you understanding what I'm saying? Is everybody understanding what I'm saying? We need to understand life so we can get life right, so we can stop getting into trouble. Making silly decisions and having to pay for them later on when we think all is well. We live too carelessly. We don't care about the rules. We don't care about laws. We just practice magic any old how. Do magic on any old person for any old reason. And then when it backfires, you want to know, well, how did that go wrong? You're committing a crime. That's how. If the person didn't wrong you, you have no business fighting against them. And if they did wrong you, then you need to know to what extent you have the right to fight back. Or else you go into territory where you're then offending them. The punishment has to fit their crime. We have to understand these things about life. These are basic things. It will help things to go so much smoother. It will create a happier atmosphere around you. Let's see, what else? So sing a response to that song about venturing outside your usual way of being. Okay? So sing a response to that song, like, what's your experience with the rest of the world? It's like you grew up in this way, but then when you went to maybe school, or you went overseas for college or university, or you went on holiday, you saw some different things, and it's like, I didn't know that this exists. I didn't know people live like this. I didn't know that. Now you're gathering information, thereby making you more inclined to make better decisions. Let's read on. So yeah, so we have sing a love song. So that means speak about it with love. What do you like about what you saw outside? When you're speaking to your people, speak to them with love as well. Do not come at them all angry and condemning them and all that type of behavior, because they were young too. They were young and thought they were doing the right thing too. See how that worked? Had they the experience that they now have, they probably wouldn't have made the same decision. But now that they see what type of experience making that decision will lead them to in the future, now they would have better information to make a better decision on. Be patient with your people. Respect your people once they're respecting you. If they're not respecting you, you have to stand up for yourself. Excuse me. Let's read on. So we got Think International. Exactly. The world is large. There are all types of people in the world. If we are confined to one little I'm hearing lump of knowledge. I'll fucking say it. If we're confined to one little lump of knowledge, or to one little place in the world, or to one little this or one little that, that's all we know. But the world is huge. And you don't know who you've been called to be until something awakens that thing in you. Something has to spark that thing in you for you to know who you're actually called to be. Know your purpose, your passion. Find your joy, your freedom, your excellence, your success. You need to expand. And parents need to know how and when to let go. We are supposed to be here as support for our children, not their leaders. Their head, yes, not their leaders. And we're only the head because we know better, because we've been here longer, we've experienced more, so we can teach more. Some children end up outgrowing their parents in knowledge. So there's a point where that gets cut off so you can continue to grow. If they don't want to grow anymore, then that's fine. That's what they choose to be. You have to love them how they are. And deal with them how you know they are. But there has to be a mutual respect where they must respect you for who you are. You love them for who they are, and they love you for who you are. So yeah, Think International. The world is huge. You have a right to determine your own destiny. God sent you here with a programming. That's why we like what we like. That's why we don't like what we don't like. That's why the things that make us cry make us cry. Certain things don't make us cry. That's just who we are. We don't connect to that. We are who we are because we are somebody. Everybody is somebody. And we need to be respected as such. Parents need to know where their bounds are with children, and children need to know where their bounds are with their parents. And we need to know where our bounds are with ourselves and the world around us. Not everything is for everybody. You don't have to experience every stupid thing to learn from it. You can learn from other people's experiences sometimes. If life puts you in a situation where you find yourself in that situation, it's different. But don't go searching for trouble, because you will find it. It's not always good to be bad. They make being bad look cool, but they don't tell you about how easy it is to get into trouble and how hard it is to get out of it. Hearing me? It's easy to get into some shit. It's hard to get out of it. Make wise choices. Be a goody two shoes and proud. Tell them fuck off. I need to make my goody two shoes and proud. Fuck off t-shirt. I should really do that. Yeah, I make good decisions for myself so I don't have regrets later. So I don't end up in shambles later. I don't end up hating myself later. Every decision I make today will determine what my tomorrow look like. Every decision I make in these times will determine what my life look like in the future. That's what people don't realize. They don't realize that the things that we do today is shaping our tomorrows. Be ahead of the game. They call it goody two shoes. Actually, it's bossing up. It's self-mastery, self-control, self-management. Okay. So that's what God has to say. Until next time, lovelies. Go do some more human shit. Let me find some more shit to come and talk about. I got some more. I got some more that I want to look into. And yeah. Even those musicians and the music industry where they give them these contracts and they know they put like fine print in them, and then these young people, their eyes get so wide with this big advance money and they think they're getting such a good deal. I wonder how valid are those contracts with the music companies. You know, what's the real case on that? Inquiring minds want to know. Because it's my philosophy that any contract that was erected on any form of trickery or manipulation becomes null and void. If you're going to give somebody a contract, they need to know exactly what they're getting involved in, because I'm sure if these people knew exactly what the deal was, they would not, many of them would not have consented to these contracts. But these people, these executives of the music world and maybe of the movie world, they played on these people's naivety. They played on their desires for fame and fortune, and they bribed them with this huge advance check. And I just feel like that's a crime. But what say God? We'll find out in the future. Until next time, loves, take care of yourself and each other. Bye bye.